Most men don't lose a woman overnight. They lose her quietly, silently, while she's still next to them. She still laughs, still texts, still says I'm fine, but emotionally, she's already somewhere else. And the truth is, when a woman wants another man, she rarely announces it. She signals it. Tonight, we're unmasking the 6 most common psychological signs that show she wanted another man even while she was still with you. Not to blame, not to shame, but to help you finally understand what really happened. Welcome back to Mind Unmasked, the channel where we strip away comforting lies and expose uncomfortable emotional truths. This video is not about anger, it's not about hating women, and it's definitely not about turning pain into bitterness. It's about awareness, because confusion hurts more than the truth. If you've ever looked back at a relationship and thought, something changed, but I couldn't explain it, this lecture is for you. Let's begin. Sign 1. Her emotional energy shifted, but her routine didn't. One of the earliest signs is subtle. She didn't leave. She didn't cheat openly. She didn't fight. She just stopped investing emotionally. Her schedule stayed the same. Her presence stayed the same, but her energy didn't. She became less curious about your thoughts, less engaged in your stories, less emotionally responsive. You'd speak, and she'd hear you but not feel you. Psychologically, this happens when emotional attention is being redirected, not necessarily physically but mentally. When a woman starts wanting another man, even subconsciously, her emotional focus begins to split. And emotional attention is finite. You didn't lose her because you stopped trying. You lost her because she stopped receiving. Sign 2. She became secretive without becoming suspicious. This is important because many men misunderstand it. She wasn't hiding her phone dramatically. She wasn't acting guilty. Instead, she became selectively private. Suddenly, certain conversations were nothing important. Certain people were just friends. Certain topics made her defensive, not angry, just closed. This isn't always cheating. Sometimes it's emotional curiosity. When someone new enters her mental world, she creates a psychological boundary not to protect you, but to protect the fantasy. Because fantasies feel fragile when exposed. And deep down, she didn't want to explain what she hadn't fully admitted to herself. Sign 3. She compared you indirectly. This one hurts because it's quiet. She didn't say, "Why aren't you like him?" She said things like, "Some men really know how to listen. I like how confident people are. I admire ambition." These weren't random statements. They were emotional comparisons without names attached. When a woman wants another man, she often justifies it internally by magnifying traits she feels are missing in her current relationship. Not because you lacked value, but because novelty exaggerates contrast, and comparison slowly replaces appreciation. Sign 4. She stopped resolving conflict and started avoiding it. Healthy partners argue to fix things. Disconnected partners avoid arguments because they no longer see the relationship as something to invest in. When she wanted another man, conflict became inconvenient, not necessary. She said, "It's not worth talking about. I'm tired of explaining. Let's just drop it." Not because the issue was small, but because emotionally, she was already detaching. Psychologically, avoidance is a sign of pre-exit behavior. She wasn't planning a future with you. She was managing the present until something else felt certain. Sign 5. Her affection became inconsistent, not absent. This is one of the most confusing signs. She didn't completely pull away. She gave affection, but on her terms. One day she was warm, the next day distant. This inconsistency creates emotional imbalance, which often keeps the other person trying harder. Why does this happen? Because part of her still cared, but another part was emotionally exploring elsewhere. Inconsistency isn't confusion, it's division, and division usually means her emotional loyalty was already shifting. Sign 6. She rewrote the relationship narrative. This happens near the end or after it's over. Suddenly, the relationship was always unhealthy. You were never really compatible. She felt unfulfilled for a long time, even if that wasn't true before. Why does this happen? Because when someone wants another man while still with you, they need to justify it internally. So they rewrite history to reduce guilt. This isn't cruelty, it's psychological self-protection, but it leaves the person being left feeling erased. This lecture is not saying, all women behave this way, men are always victims, you did nothing wrong, relationships are complex. Sometimes emotional disconnection happens because needs weren't communicated, growth went in different directions, emotional safety broke down. Understanding the signs isn't about blaming, it's about clarity. And clarity is how you stop repeating the same pain. What you should take from this: if you recognize these signs, don't turn them into resentment. Turn them into awareness. Awareness helps you choose better, communicate earlier, walk away sooner. When energy disappears, the right person won't emotionally leave while standing next to you. If this video gave you clarity, not anger, then it did its job. At Mind Unmasked, we don't teach you how to control people. We teach you how to understand human behavior, so you stop blaming yourself for what you couldn't see at the time. If you've ever felt replaced before you were abandoned, know this: you weren't blind. You were trusting, and trust should never be a weakness. Subscribe to Mind Unmasked if you're ready to see relationships for what they are, not what you hoped they were. Stay aware, stay grounded, and most importantly, stay unmasked.